Thanks, Jane. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight. The parents of 19-year-old Aidan Venison killed by a drink driver join Sussex police urging motorists not to drive under the influence.
People out there are taking people's lives and creating havoc, heartbreak, hopelessness for the families that are left behind.
Medway flags are down, but at what cost? It's £11,000 well spent, says the council. We're in Rainham with more on this tonight. Gills manager Gareth Ainsworth urges people to get regular health checks after returning from his open heart surgery. And we catch up with 90s Britpop band The Charlatans, still going strong as they release a new album and go on tour. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Ellie Crisell. The parents of a teenager who was killed by a drunk driver say people driving under the influence are creating havoc, heartbreak and hopelessness for those left behind. Aidan Venison, who was just days away from his 20th birthday, was riding his motorbike when he was hit head-on by a motorist who'd been drinking. His parents joined Sussex Police today as they conducted roadside drink and drug driving checks, as Claire Starr reports.
I need help. This isn't funny. My foot is stuck.
Aidan Venison from West Sussex was 19 when he was killed by a drink driver who crashed head-on into his motorbike in June last year.
Can you tell me what it was like finding out about his accident?
Just devastated.
The driver was twice the legal limit.
The early hours of the morning that we got the call, the knock at the door, it was just, I think you just go into this utter disbelief that your son's gone.
Today, his parents have been out with Sussex Police Roads team.
We're just doing some road safety checks this morning. Okay. Have you had any alcohol or drugs at all? No. No, nothing at all?
Spot checks are being carried out by police officers in this lay-by in Shoreham. They can pull over drivers, have a chat, breathalyse for alcohol and also swab for drugs too.
It always amazes me that people are still prepared to take the risk. It could be traumatising, it could be absolutely devastating for families. And if you do that, you're likely to go to prison. You're likely to go to prison for a considerable time. The risks are there, the message is there. It should be a deterrent.
People just don't realise. I mean, it's the same with drugs. You know, people, once you've started drinking or driving, people just don't realise what they're doing. And then it's very dangerous. So I think it's great. I've got no problem with it.
Drink or drug driving is one of the fatal 5, the main causes of serious injury or fatal collisions on the roads.
My son wasn't just a number. My son was a person. And people out there are taking people's lives and creating havoc, heartbreak, hopelessness for the families that are left behind.
The driver who killed Aidan, 28-year-old Toby Spirings, was last month sentenced to 8 years in prison.
The situation that we're in as a family is totally unnecessary. You know, there's no reason or excuse for anyone to get in a car when they've had that much to drink. The ripple effect it has on a massive amount of people.
A promising future and a young life taken away. A family's warning that taking a drink or drugs and getting behind the wheel can ruin lives in an instant.
Well, our reporter Claire Starr joins us now. She's in Shoreham this evening. Claire, a very, very, very sad story there. And how widespread is this problem?
Well, in the latest figures that we do have, it's estimated that over 1,800 people in the UK were killed or seriously injured in drink driving related incidents in 2023. That's actually down 3% on the year before. But Sussex Police say they will be ramping up the kind of spot checks that we saw today in the lead up to Christmas and New Year as more people are out socialising. But speaking to the officers today, they made it clear that they know that every drink or drug driver they get off the road is potentially one less family devastated, and that really is the message that Aidan's family are keen to share as they continue to come to terms with his death almost 18 months on.
Claire, thank you. Medway Council says it spent over £11,000 removing almost 750 St George's and Union Jack flags. The council says it believes the flags were designed to create division and that removing them was a worthwhile use of taxpayers' money. But the leader of the opposition has questioned the council's decision given the current financial pressures, as our political reporter Michael Keown explains.
St George's Cross, and so a Medway Council.
We've decided to take the flags down, not for bogus health and safety reasons, but quite simply because they have been used to try and divide our community. They have been used to intimidate sections of the community, and I simply find that unacceptable in a wonderful, vibrant, diverse place like Medway. That operation to remove in the region of 750 flags has cost us about £11,500. It's certainly money that I don't want to be spending on this, but I think it's really important that people should feel welcome in their own homes and certainly shouldn't feel estranged from the communities that they built their lives in.
As we made our way through the Medway towns, it was clear that most of the flags that had dominated the streets since the summer had been taken down.
This was a real political hot potato in many ways over the summer and has become a kind of microcosm of the divides in society. And this is also particularly what Medway Council will be thinking about. And they won't want to be adding to this so-called sort of divisions.
Campaigners in Medway are hoping to make most of the 750 flags removed into a new art installation.
The flags were making people feel as if they were unwelcome. So what we want to do, how we can turn it into something that's been symbolised to sort of like division and intolerance and hatred, to something that celebrates and recognises community cohesion and diversity.
Medway Council are one of the first in Kent to proactively remove flags put up as part of this summer's national movement. Critics argue their removal is wasting money the council simply doesn't have.
We've got questions. The authority's got £20 million worth of borrowing this year in exceptional financial support, with a huge in-year deficit as well on top of that they're going to be asking the government to cover at the end of the year. And we're now spending yet another £10,000 bringing their flags down. And we've got no guarantee that come next week they won't be back up again.
The council have vowed to keep lampposts flag-free, but recognise that some may be cross with the removal of the St George flags. Michael Keown, BBC South East Today, Medway.
Bereaved parents in East Kent have been invited to give evidence to Baroness Amos into the worst performing maternity services in the country. It's part of the National Maternity and Neonatal Investigation, due to report initial findings next month. Families who lost babies at hospitals in Ashford and Margate, part of East Kent Hospitals Trust, have been asked to meet with the investigations team next week to discuss their experiences. The NHS has confirmed that asylum seekers placed in an army camp in Crowborough will be registered with local GPs. The Home Office announced last month that 600 people would be temporarily housed at a training camp on the outskirts of the Sussex town. Wealdon District Council have raised concerns about the additional strain on already overstretched services, but the NHS says it is legally required to provide healthcare to asylum seekers, explaining most of their care would be provided through a bespoke on-site service. A senior police officer has been handed a misconduct notice after a child was seriously injured by a police drone. Kent Police say officers were using the drone to search for a suspect on the Isle of Sheppey when it struck an overhead cable. It crashed to the ground, hitting a child and seriously injuring their hand. The Independent Office for Police Conduct confirmed inquiries are ongoing and said it's the first time it had investigated a civilian being injured by a police drone. Banning of legal highs has led to an increase in incidents of violence in prisons. That's according to the University of Sussex. Legal high drugs were made illegal in prison in 2016, but researchers say they remain available. The report says the ban has led to prisoners paying more for the substances, causing power struggles and violence. A Ministry of Justice spokesperson said they are taking action, but they inherited a crisis in prisons with levels of violence, assaults on staff and self-harm far too high. Well, our reporter Jadzia Samuel joins us now with more on this. Hello, Jadzia. So they changed this to try and reduce the problems with this in prison, but it seems to almost have had the reverse effect.
Yes, that's right. The University of Sussex assessed nearly 100 prisons across England and Wales, and they found a sharp increase in violent self-harm immediately following the ban on legal highs. They say it's because of the sudden difficulties in accessing these drugs, with some of the substances being dealt in prisons increasing in price by more than 3,000%. The researchers say that better addiction support is needed to tackle the crisis in prisons. And the Ministry of Justice said the government inherited a crisis facing our prisons, but they're taking action by building 14,000 prison spaces and reforming our jails.
Jadzia, thank you. The owners of Brighton's Palace Pier say they're considering selling off the attraction, blaming declining profits. The Brighton Pier Group has already sold several bars in London, Bristol and Reading. Its theme park in North Yorkshire has also been put on the market. They say it's due to trading this year being subdued with a decline in sales, as Peter Whittlesey reports.
Is a storm brewing over the future of Brighton's Palace Pier after the company that owns it announced all options, including the potential sale of the Grade 2 star listed structure, are being considered. But visitors today weren't surprised the pier's profits were down.
And yeah, life is hard at the moment. It's cost of living, isn't it? So does it make people think twice to pay entrance?
I know it takes a lot of money to for the all the wood and everything, you know, the maintenance of it all. But you know, they've got some machines in there, fruit machines, stuff like that. I think if they upgrade them a bit more often, they might encourage more people.
There is nobody, like people are just waiting for people to come, like workers, but there's no one now. It's very empty, it's kind of sad.
The arcade is one of its revenue streams, but the Pier's boss explained earlier this year that higher energy costs, regulation and increases to employers' national insurance threaten the profitability of this side of the business.
We've all got memories, haven't we, of little pots of pennies and 2p's going around with our parents and our grandparents, and you see it today. This is a family thing. People come, it's tradition, it's heritage. You go to the seaside and you go into the arcades. You're not going in to gamble hundreds of thousands of pounds on anything. That's totally different.
But one travel expert and Brighton resident said the real gamble at the moment is the UK economy. Customer confidence is low, and that's hitting tourist attractions.
The owners of the pier have said that footfall was down 18% last year, and they've blamed things like bad weather and also train strikes. But from a wider point of view, domestic tourism is suffering, and domestic tourism is the sort of tourism that Brighton relies upon. The people jumping on the train and coming down for a day trip, the people coming here for a couple of days, and that is down. And I think it's absolutely due to the cost of living crisis. People can't afford days out like they used to.
The Brighton Pier Group has sold several bars in London, Bristol and Reading and is actively marketing the Lightwater Valley Adventure Park in North Yorkshire. So for now at least, the imminent sale of the pier isn't on the horizon. Peter Whittlesey, BBC South East Today, Brighton.
Oh, it's 7:15. A reminder of our top story tonight. The parents of a teenager who was killed by a drunk driver say people driving under the influence are creating havoc, heartbreak and hopelessness for those left behind. They joined Sussex Police today conducting roadside drink and drug driving checks. Also in tonight's programme. Sharing some time with the Charlatans as the legendary Manchester survivors head out on tour with a new album. Now, James is with me in the studio. He's got lots of sports news for us, haven't you, James? Including some big news for the Gills, because they've got their manager back.
Exactly, and he'll be a very welcome sight for them at Priestfield. Gareth Ainsworth, he'll be back in the stands after open heart surgery, and he is urging people to get their hearts checked, no matter how fit and healthy they feel. The former professional footballer has confirmed he's now fit enough to lead the Gills again as they take on Bristol Rovers this weekend. Leanne Rinney spoke to him about his return to Priestfield.
Stepping back out onto the pitch in what can only be described as a remarkable return to work, just 4 weeks after undergoing open heart surgery.
They said, you know, you have a murmur, and I thought, no way. You know, I felt so fit, and I work out, and I was still playing sort of football now and again, and badminton and things like that. And they said, no, listen, and I heard the murmur myself, and then after subsequent tests after that, they found that I had something called regurgitation. I had a valve issue. I did ask whether I could leave it to the end of the season, but I think that raised a few eyebrows, not just from the surgeon, but from the Gillingham owners, the Gallinsons, and they said, go and get this done as soon as you can. And yeah, here I am. I wanted to get back into work and make sure that, one, people are aware that these health checks are worthwhile. Go and get them done, and please, you know, listen to the doctors. But two, this is me, this is who I am as well, and to be back with the team is probably good mentally, and I have to take it a little bit easy physically.
Before his operation, Ainsworth had led the club to a record-breaking 21-game unbeaten run. But since he's been off, the team haven't won a game, so news that the boss is back was more than welcome.
To finally see him in the flesh was just brilliant. I think you could just feel like a buzz from everyone just to see him for the first time in 4 weeks. But yeah, it's really, really good to have him back.
Ainsworth is strictly under doctor's orders to take it slow, and he won't be in the dugout until he's fully recovered.
Have you ever stopped and thought, do you know what, this career, this job, this stress is just not worth it?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is I got a lot of great memories. I've had loads of ups, I've had loads of downs. You know, there's so many stresses in this job that a lot of people think they can do it better than you. I've had so many operations physically because of my injuries, this one being the biggest one, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
The team take on Bristol Rovers tomorrow, and of course Ainsworth will be there, even though for now it's safer to manage from the stands. Leanne Rinney, BBC South East Today, Gillingham.
Well, staying with football now, Brighton and Hove Albion travel to arch rivals Crystal Palace for their Premier League match on Sunday. Head coach Fabian Hürzeler says it's crucial the team are in the right frame of mind ahead of the so-called M23 derby match.
It's a big responsibility we have, not only for us, we have it for the whole club to give them something back, to give the supporters something back. I think especially for them, we have to promise to never give up. We have to promise to put the most effort we can give into this game and try to do everything to win this game. In the end, you can't promise wins, but you can promise that you let the heart or leave the heart on the pitch, and that's what we try to do on Sunday.
In the rest of the weekend's football fixtures, in League 2 tomorrow, Gillingham play Bristol Rovers, as we mentioned. Crawley Town host Fleetwood Town. Both those games kick off at 3 o'clock. And on Sunday in the Women's Super League, Brighton and Hove Albion take on Liverpool at midday. And don't forget that you can keep up to date with the latest news on the Albion, on Gills and Crawley Town at the club feeds on BBC Sounds. And don't miss interviews with players, managers, plus match previews. Go to Sounds and search for your club to get involved. And you can also get the latest by searching for your club on the BBC Sport website. And don't forget to listen to BBC Radio Sussex, Radio Kent and Radio Surrey for match commentary across the weekend, including, Ellie, those matches that we mentioned.
Indeed, a lot happening this weekend. Thank you very much, James. Well, something else that's also happening on Sunday is that it's Remembrance Sunday, and across the South East there will be services, of course, to remember the courage of those in the armed forces who made the ultimate sacrifice. Alongside those traditional commemorations, marches and a minute's silence, there are churches decorated with poppies, and visitors can pay their respects at a display of a carriage used to repatriate the body of an unknown warrior in Dover, as Oliver Whitfield-Miocic explains.
Our symbol of remembrance in abundance,
7,000 hand-knitted poppies adorning the outside of Union Church in Heathfield. Over in Battle, the community hitting higher figures to cover their place of worship with 10,000 fabric flowers. Down in Dover, preparations being made ahead of Sunday's commemorations.
It's part of our history and something that we should learn about and respect. I've come here today for that purpose.
Is it important for people to stop and pay respect and remember?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, really important. We should remember what people have given up for us. Yeah.
We had family fought in the Second World War, so it's very, very important that it must be remembered and children must be taught it. I'm very, very firm on that.
During World War I, the government had decided it would not bring back the war dead to Britain, instead burying them near battlefields. Then, 2 years after the armistice, the body of a single unknown soldier was chosen to represent all of our fallen warriors. After arriving from France, our region played a big role in transporting the coffin to Westminster Abbey using this exact railway carriage.
This is a van of great historic importance. It may look fairly ordinary to most people. It's a very plain looking van, but in fact, when it was built, it was regarded as the special van and was used to carry the remains of the only 3 bodies to be returned to this country after the Great War, all of whom were national heroes.
The other 2 returnees were Captain Charles Fryatt and a resistance nurse who was executed called Edith Cavell, who the wagon was named after.
It's almost a miracle that the Cavell van survives to this day, and it only does so because it was saved by chance. But after a full restoration by Kent and East Sussex Railway, visitors are transported back through time to something which has huge local importance, but is also nationally significant too.
The Cavell van will remain at the Port of Dover for the next 2 weekends, allowing the public to explore this historic carriage right from where it set off over a century ago. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic, BBC South East Today, Dover.
Now, the charlatans emerged at the start of the 90s, propelling themselves to the forefront of the so-called baggy music scene. With hits like The Only One I Know, they're acknowledged as Britpop legends, but unlike many of their contemporaries, they have stayed the course. Their latest album's just been released, their 14th in all, and they're heading off on a UK tour that comes to the Brighton Dome in April. Piers Hopkirk caught up with them at Resident Music.
More than 3 decades on from their breakthrough single, they remain the Manchester scene's great survivors. From chart-topping highs, they've had to manage massive lows, coping with the loss of 2 band members. Throughout it all, though, the charlatans have endured.
We've lived with ourselves, with each other, longer than we haven't lived with each other. You know what I mean? We've spent more time in each other's company than not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. But I mean, it's that sort of, potential friction has seen many of your contemporaries fall by the wayside, but Charlatans still roaring on. And I just wonder what you put that down to.
We're family. We are family.
Fans queuing patiently in Brighton for their latest album have had to wait 8 years for new music. Some might ask, what took so long?
That's a really good question, because I haven't got the answers to that. I suppose it's when everything aligns, when you're all ready to make the album,
We wanted to make something that wasn't the means to an end, but was a really good, solid, classic Charlatans album.
This is the place, these are the days.
Songs from the new album were recorded at Rockfield Studios, the first time the band have returned since Rob Collins' death there in a car accident in 1996.
He's part of Rockfield history, and he's still around the place, and we could feel that, and it was quite comforting at times.
Accepting all we are now, try to spot the drift.
We went somewhere
knowing that, you know, that the courtyard was full of charlatan spirits, and we collected them and put them on the record.
They're on there.
They're on there, and
especially if you play it backwards. Pleased with ourselves, yeah. We might even think about making another one after this one, but maybe down the line sometime. But no, it's yeah. I think we are collectively very chuffed with ourselves.
Yeah. What did the other two say? That's what I want.
Did they not like it?
They said, well, we need to bin off the singer and the guitarist. That'll never happen, of course. The charlatans remain as tight as ever. Piers Hopkirk, BBC South East Today, Brighton.
Very cool as ever. Time now for a look at the weather. Alexis Green has an update for us.
Hello there. We've seen some brightness through the course of today. We're expecting some bands of rain to move through during the overnight period tonight, but also as we head through the weekend, the second part of the weekend, we'll start to see further rain. Tomorrow is a mainly dry day. Now, through the course of tomorrow, there will be some low cloud, mist and fog for western parts of the region. Some bright and sunny spells breaking through, but there's still a lot of cloud out there, and that low cloud could linger through the day. Patchy rain will affect some areas overnight tonight, moving north and eastwards. A fair amount of cloud will develop, and behind it some low cloud, mist and fog could form. There will be a few showers as we head towards dawn. Temperatures overnight tonight will fall away to around 11 to 12 Celsius. So tomorrow morning, low cloud, perhaps some mist and fog first thing. That cloud may be stubborn to break in a few places and could linger throughout much of the day, but we're hopeful for a little bit of brightness breaking through, more so through tomorrow afternoon and evening, with highs of 14, possibly 15 degrees. The winds are fairly light. Now, with clearing skies tomorrow night, we could see some mist and fog patches, and it will be a lot fresher tomorrow night during the early hours of Sunday morning. Temperatures will be in the mid-single figures. We're looking at lows perhaps around 4 or 5 Celsius. So we start the day on Sunday with some sunshine through the morning. As the day progresses, we'll see this weather front slowly track its way eastwards, arriving perhaps in the southeast as we head towards the evening, and further rain is expected into Monday, with winds coming in from the southwest. So really an unsettled picture during the second part of the weekend, but a lot of dry weather through the day tomorrow, although, as I said, there's still a lot of uncertainty as to how much cloud will linger, that mist and fog first thing on Saturday morning. Sunday, a bright and dry start, mist and fog in the morning will clear, and we'll see that rain band arrive towards the evening time and overnight into Monday. Monday itself, a spell of heavy rain, but also some brightness breaking through in the morning, and into Tuesday, a lot of dry weather is expected, a fair amount of cloud with perhaps some drizzle at times.
Thank you very much, Alexis. That is it from all of us here for the moment. We will be back though. Yetunde Yusuf will be here with your late news update at 10:30. Bye-bye.